How far away? That's the boat. It's a state bird. Yeah, last time we were there. Called it the state bird.
They gotta win. They gotta win 3 games to make a bowl. There are only 3 really winnable games are on the road. They play USF or North Texas. So I don't know. It's different with like Memphis, who is a rival. If you can get up for, I don't think they're gonna beat those other 2 games. I don't think they're gonna make a bowl game. I think I could see them going 2 out of 3 on the road though, and then losing. Also, like basically
Well, no, I think they did it. I think they shifted everything because I'm usually right here. No, my favorite name. Yeah, it was like that.
Okay.
We'll have Coach begin with his opening statement. Take questions. Whenever you're ready, Coach.
Okay. I thought, there was a good bit of resiliency from our team that we're seeing, a lot of fight from our guys. Golly, excuse me. Must be the cigar smoke. That's right. Yeah. Showing a little fight in my my esophagus. A lot of resiliency in our players. I thought, that's one thing that our guys have done a great job of developing. I think Coach DeBoer has done a tremendous job of developing a grit and toughness in our team, and it's showing up on game day. We were able to affect the quarterback the other night. We were able to limit some of the shots. This is a team that had really created a lot of shots downfield, had capitalized on those shots and explosive plays. And we were able to limit some of those things in the passing game. Obviously 4 sacks and 8 TFLs, that helps. I think we took some steps in the right direction in terms of affecting the quarterback, and yet at the same time, we've had a number of 2-minute situations that have come up the last few games, and we have not been able to get a quarterback on the ground. And so that's something that we have to find a way to affect the quarterback at the end of games in particular. And that's something that we certainly will continue to look at and figure out how to put our players in the best position to go put people away at the end of games that we have not done consistently well enough. Probably the stat of the game is they were 2 of 5 in the red zone. Really, great fight from our guys. We talk about it all the time. Coach DeBoer talks about it all the time. Just make them snap the ball one more time, and kind of that Bombay mentality that our players, we talk about that all the time. The quote from the movie The Black Panther, right? Just hold the line, hold the line, do your 1/11th and do your job, and good things can happen. And so that was certainly a positive there. Twice they got inside the 3-yard line and came away with -7 points. So really a great job by our guys, and certainly Zabian making that play right before half was tremendous momentum for our football team. Fundamentally, we have to keep improving good teams are going to find ways to improve as the season goes on. I think some of the things when we are giving up explosives, particularly in the run game, there are fundamental issues, not leveraging the ball properly, finishing plays, tackling, and there were some things that we got exposed on there that we've got to make sure that we're striving to become better fundamentally. And then, ultimately, nobody stays the same. Everybody's got to find a way to keep getting better, find wrinkles schematically, find things fundamentally that we can keep improving and play with the edge that we have developed and that we've earned as a football team. When you look at South Carolina, this is a fantastic game day environment. It's a hard place to go and play. I was, been at multiple games. My dad coached there for a couple of years, and I've watched them take the momentum from games, and their fans do a tremendous job in the environment that they create. This is obviously a very dangerous quarterback in Lenore Sellers. He does some great things in the passing game. Very hard to tackle, almost never gets tackled and brought down by the first guy. And so anybody that can create and extend plays with his feet is certainly going to present problems for a defense. You look at their team, and I know they've had some struggles, but this was a team that won 5 of their last 6 in 2024. They had a very similar schedule going into our game, and then rattled off, a number of wins. Winning does not get easier. We talked to our players about that. It only gets harder because of the target that's going to be painted on your chest. We're always going to get teams best, but there's an earned confidence that our players need to continue to play with as we start transitioning in the back half of our season in SEC play. So looking forward to the week of work, looking forward to finding a way to get our players better and play with an edge as we get into Saturday in Columbia.
All right, thank you, Coach. So with Charlie on the right.
Yeah, Coach. Do you know Coach Shula at all, and how different do you see their offense kind of with him calling plays this year compared to last?
Yeah, no, I don't know Coach Shula. I know he was here, I guess, when my dad was the defensive coordinator at Arkansas, so there was some crossover there. But don't know him in particular. Think highly of their staff. I've known Dow Loggins, their former offensive coordinator, very well. I know they've kept the same system. You think about Shane and his offensive background. They're very good offensive minds. They've got a very dynamic passing game, good complements in the run game. They run the quarterback enough as well that makes things challenging to defend with the 1+ quarterback system. And so they present a number of challenges. And anytime you have an athletic quarterback like that has the arm talent to make all the throws on the field, they're going to make you defend the width and vertical stretch of the field. So be a good challenge for us.
Staying on the right side, let's go to Nick next.
Yeah, you talked, I think, in the spring about making sure that handling success is done better this season than last season. You faced some tough offenses, and now this is an offense that statistically I think is worse than the SEC in terms of points per game. What is the message going to be in terms of not looking at, okay, you can easily take your foot off the brake when you're facing an offense that isn't perceived to be as good as what you have faced?
Yeah. That was obviously a pretty tremendous stretch there. It felt like, every team I would come in and look at the stat line, and somehow they were always the first number 1 in the SEC in scoring offense and half the numbers and all those things. You're going to have teams, right, that maybe on paper look a certain way, but when you turn on the tape, this is a very dangerous football team. And I think our players have the maturity enough to be able to see those things. And I think we have the maturity, or we have developed the maturity to learn from our past adversity. And that's something that I think this team has an edge right now, in large part because we have learned from mistakes of the past, and we haven't forgot about those things. And those are things that we need to make sure that we carry throughout the rest of the season. Success, if handled properly and not allowing complacency, which complacency will creep into any area that you allow it. It's like, rodents getting into your house, right? Once they're in, right, it's hard to get them out. Complacency is exactly the same way. You have to find ways to shore up any area for us as a football team to make sure complacency isn't there. And I think Coach DeBoer has done a tremendous job with that with our players. And I think our players have a maturity to make sure that those things don't happen.
Jump to the far left, Chase.
We saw a little bit more of Red Morgan against Tennessee. Looked like he played pretty well. Can you just speak to his role and progress?
Yeah. You want to make sure I play him too or whatever, so. I thought you'd give me more of a scheme, question or something like that, I'll tell you, you win a couple of games and everybody gets complacent, I think, Red is, it's been fun for me to watch Red's development and growth. He had to do so many things. We asked him a lot out of him a year ago as a true freshman to go in and play in some high-level games and execute, and he took his lumps, and he also did some really great things. I think fundamentally he has improved so much. His consistency on the field has improved so much, and it was really great to see him be rewarded with the way that he's playing right now. He's got twitch. He can make space tackles. He can take the air out of the ball, meaning that he can, cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time. And when you're dealing with teams, for example, like Tennessee, that stretch you laterally in the RPO perimeter passing game, it's really good to have, a guy that not only can close space, but can also finish on the ball carrier. And I thought he did a tremendous job of that the other night.
Go to Emily Grace in a second.
So on Saturday, Xavier Brown talked to us about how he had that awareness to know the clock was ticking down, right? And he had to get into the end zone. What does that do for you to know that your DBs have such awareness of the situation to not only make the play, but then make the play after the play?
Yeah, I mean, that was a tremendous play that Xavier made, and I think one of the things that's so impressive about Xavier is that whatever you emphasize, whatever you work, it shows up on game day, and that's really a lesson that all of our players on defense can learn from Xavier. The consistency that he brings. That situation in particular, we had come out in a different personnel grouping in the play before, and then we had asked for a timeout so that we could see what they were going to be in. And then we brought the guys on the sideline and talked about, hey, listen, this is probably going to be some type of power pass situation, right? And have your eyes in the right place, do your job, do your 1/11th of the defense. And Xavier was just all over it, And so in the moment, right, one, his eyes are in the right place. He knows what to expect. He does his job. And so we built like a cover two concept over there. He goes and makes the play. And then we talk about it all the time. We haven't done it nearly enough. In fact, we've only had 2 defensive touchdowns since I've been here. Both of them were Xavier. But when you get the ball, we are trying to score, all right? We're trying to make sure that the next unit that goes out on the field is our field goal unit. And, really tremendous job by him. He put the ball in his outside arm, tucked it away, secured it, and, was off to the races. So did a really great job there.
Second row on the left, Katie.
You talked in your opening about this a little bit already with the pass rush you need to do better late in the game affecting the quarterback. But just overall this season, how have you seen your defense grow and affecting the quarterback? I think
we're still inconsistent. I think very proud of Yanze Pierre and some of the things that he did. I think you look at the the plays that he affected the quarterback. He did his job. He did his job at a high level. And when you do your job consistently, good things happen. And that's something that we've continued to stress with him and a number of our players of just doing their job at a more consistent high level, and production will come from that. But at the same time, we've got to find a way to affect the quarterback better. When you get in 2-minute situations at the end of games and you're 4-man rushing and you don't really want to play man and you don't want to necessarily pressure, you've got to still be able to affect the quarterback. And we've had a number of situations right now where they have moved the ball right down the field and we haven't touched the quarterback. And that's something that we've got to find a way to get better at, or I've got to do some things differently from a schematic standpoint so that we can certainly stifle some of their 2-minute offense. On the flip side, when they did get down to the red zone, a tremendous job by our guys and fight to find a way to keep them out of the end zone, particularly in the fourth quarter.
Go to Colin, front row on the left.
Hey, Kane, kind of continue off what Katie just asked. When you look at what Jan Zapier was able to do at the line of scrimmage, what do you point to and say, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do as an Alabama pass rusher? Like,
Yeah.
what specifics do you see?
I think one of the most effective areas in pass rush is physicality. And, everybody thinks it's a finesse game. You go watch the NFL right now, the vast majority of the sacks come from speed to power. We're not running around people, they're running through people. And our ability to do that, that's something that we have really worked at, is not running around people and giving up vertical lanes in the passing game, but working a speed to power, crush style rush, condensing the pocket, right, and then falling back in, countering back inside on the ball carrier, or the quarterback rather. And that's something that I think we're taking some steps in the right direction, but we're still inconsistent. And that's something that we've got to improve upon.
We're going to finish up with Joe on the left.
Coach, let's stay up front and go to James Smith. I'd like to ask what he's been bringing to the defensive line from a production standpoint, but more importantly from an emotional and mental standpoint.
I think James, James flashes. He is a very athletic player, does some really good things. Needs to become more consistent. A number of our guys are the same way. I'm not necessarily just singling him out, but there were some plays that he particularly left out on the field. A number of our guys left out on the field, and so that's exciting from a number of ways because he was very productive in a number of plays. But there were also opportunities that we left out there on the field, and so those are things that I'd like to continue to see from him and a number of guys in our defense.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Roll Tide.
All right, let's go ahead and take questions for Coach Grubb. We'll start here.
I was going to start with one thing. I just wanted to
Sorry,
say,
Coach.
I never do this. I'm going to channel my inner Kane Womack here, but I just want to thank the fans. I've coached the NFL, top 5 games, national championship, and that was the most electric atmosphere I've ever seen. So, Roll Tide.
All right, with that,
Okay, ready?
start with Nick, front right.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about Ryan Williams, getting him to have a chance to, I don't think he had a single drop. He made some tough catches. What do you think about his play and how he responded?
Not surprised. He's been working really hard. Been saying that for a couple weeks. That just felt like the process was going to pay off for him, and he's stuck to his guns on the things he'd been trying to work on, and obviously made some really, really tough catches in the game. And not just that, but his releases against man coverage, holding the line on the edge of the sideline. Just he did a lot of things really well.
Let's go to Chase on the far left.
Want to ask you about Daniel Hill. It looks like the last 2 games he's been big for y'all late in the fourth quarter. Do you see his role expanding at all with the way he's playing?
I do. We're a production-based business, and Daniel certainly did that at the end of the game. I thought he brought a spark to the run game, some broken tackles, good vision and patience in the screen game. And, Daniel's a talented kid. We kind of been waiting for him to get healthy and show out some of the things that he did this spring for us. So was excited to see him, step up in that spot.
Let's go to Colin, front left.
Hey, Ryan. So when going into each week, how does, what's the conversation look like between you and Coach DeBoer about, those first 12, 15 plays, those script plays, and what role does, Ty come into that? Like, what kind of, does he have input? Like, what does that conversation look like going into each week?
Well, I really don't. I don't talk to Kalen about the opening script or anything like that. As far as Ty, the way I look at it is, I tell our guys the same thing every week. When I go to make the openers and the plays that are going to be called in the game, I take a full cut up on Thursday afternoon of every play we ran in practice, and then I go through all of them. When I watch the plays, it's kind of Tell the Truth Thursday, where you're looking at it like, okay, what did we actually execute well? I know the plays that I like and that I want to favor, but when it came down to it, what were we executing? And then from there, I get a list from Ty every week of some of the things that are, I give him a section for each part of the call sheet what are his favorite throws, what are his favorite plays, and I certainly take that into consideration. What are the plays that he feels the most comfortable getting to, and then you just kind of add it all up and put them in order and let it rip.
Go to the back on the right, Mike.
You had a couple changes along the offensive line to start. Just what did you see out of Jaden and Carroll to start the game?
Yeah, J-Rob has been getting healthier every week, and I thought he played really good in the first quarter and part of the second quarter, and was just great to see him out there. And then Michael, he's been battling with Wilkin. I thought Wilkin really stepped up, and I thought Wilk played really well. I thought there were some things that he hadn't done yet this year that showed out really well, and still grooming Michael as a young player, and I thought he did some good things as well.
Jump over to Katie on the left side.
Sticking with the O-line, what did you see from them and Ty in this decision-making and there not being a sack this week?
Yeah, I thought there was probably 6 or 7 plays in a row where the pocket was just so clean, and I thought the guys did a great job settling in as the game went when we needed to have some clutch throws. Early on I actually thought there was some traffic in the backfield. I thought we did a good job of getting those things cleaned up on the sideline. And, for Ty, there was 2 throws for sure that were clean throwaways that I thought he didn't do the week before. And I knew that was something going into the week that Ty was going to be really focused on. We had talked about a lot, and it saved us some negative yardage hits for sure.
All right, anything else for Coach Gurley? All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, whenever you're ready, make your opening statement, and we'll take questions.
Yeah, just wrapping up Tennessee, a lot of what I felt after the game, just a resilient effort again by our guys, sticking together, playing, just good all-around team football. It's never perfect. It's hard to be when you're playing a good team like we had with Tennessee. And so just making plays at the right times, especially in the red zone, were really critical. 4 for 4 touchdowns on our end, holding them to 2 out of 5. So just critical moments. I thought our guys really did a nice job of stepping up. So just got to sustain the focus, sustain the edge that we have another week. And we know that's what it is in the SEC. You got to go on the road to a great environment, South Carolina, and face a team that, I think when you look at defensively, just really stout and has a lot of dynamic playmakers, and offensively has the explosive players there to make big plays. They've shown that, and just have come up short in a few games, and so it's going to be a battle. We understand it's going to take 4 quarters of great effort like we've had.
Thanks, Coach. Start with Chase on the left side.
I want to ask you about defending Lenore Sellers at South Carolina. Obviously, he's not only athletic, but he's big, he's strong, he can break tackles. It's a little bit different dynamic when the quarterback can run through a solo tackle, right?
Yeah. Watched a cut up this morning with the defensive staff, and that's just one play after the other, and there was more. We didn't even need to see it all because the point was very clear, and we got to make sure our guys continue to rally. We've faced, running backs and guys that are tough to bring down, but this guy touches the ball every single play, and so you can get to him. That's one thing, but you also now got to get him down, and it's not going to be just one. It's got to take multiple guys, rallying, coming from different directions. He's got the speed, he's got the size, and he's just he's super strong, and he's a relentless player. He fights for every yard he can get.
Go to Charlie on the far right.
You mentioned in your opening just sustaining an edge. The fact that you guys have played 4 ranked teams in a row, and now you play a team that's kind of struggling, for lack of a better word. How do you keep guys locked in this week?
Just, I think you always draw on the experiences, and the moment we're in right now, there is momentum. There's things that we're doing well. There's things that I know our guys have as far as goals individually as a team that we haven't even come close to reaching yet. And so taking those experiences from the past, good and bad, that we've been through, understanding that it comes down to our preparation and just locking in what we control. And that's what's got us to this point where every game means so much. And we gotta tomorrow morning come with the edge that we have had, and I expect that from our guys.
Let's go to Katie on the left.
Y'all talk a lot about winning the turnover margin. You obviously had kind of the bigger turnover play with Xavier's pick 6 on Saturday, but kind of what was the teaching point for the fumble on offense and just nobody going and getting the ball?
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. We showed that both in my team room, and it's a team thing too. It was called a safety, right, when we got to Tennessee's quarterback, but I loved how our guys went right to the ball. And then there was another play where it was a throw, and I know I'm trying to remember who caught it, but it was an incomplete pass. But I remember seeing Isaiah Horton sprinting towards the ball, trying to land on it. And, I love that effort, but we definitely were not aware of the situation and need to be better in that moment to not give field position up like we did there on that play. Until the whistle blows, you got to keep playing.
Go to Nick, front right.
Yeah, you talk about the edge that you guys are playing with, preparing with. How has emotion played into that, both from the players and from you?
Yeah, playing home games and the energy and the rivalry, you could feel it. You could feel it certainly the morning and the walkthroughs and things like that. We got to make sure that we understand, how that we're going to be walking into an environment that will get on you in a hurry if you don't bring your best. And the preparation, again, just the investment of time and the investment of your energy throughout the week, leading to a confidence and an excitement to go out there and make plays and to be our best. I still challenge the guys, and they believe it, that the world hasn't seen Bama's best yet. And, that's really what we're striving to do. And when you keep it just really as simple as possible on that, have great preparation, and everyone caring about what we're trying to accomplish, you have that edge. And so we got to stack another week of work, one day at a time, and be ready to go on Saturday.
Let's go to the middle of the room, Emily Grace.
Coach, you just said it, that the world hasn't seen Bama's best quite yet. To know that that's the mindset as you're sitting halfway through conference play, what does that do for you and this team to know that you still have so much that you can improve on?
Yeah, it's why we're going to go to work tomorrow, and our coaches just always trying to find new ways to put our guys in better spots, and it's constantly evolving, right? Constantly changing because it's a different opponent and it's different strengths that we're going to face. And so, different position groups on offense, defense, special teams are all going to be put to the test differently than they were last week, and might be similar to a few weeks ago, with your position group. But be better and help bring others with you emotionally, and we can continue to raise our game physically. I think there's a toughness about us in all ways, but it's going to be a physical test this week. Both sides of the ball needing to match up against South Carolina.
Go to Colin on the front left.
Hey, Kalen, how much, input do you have when it comes to, first drive scripting? Do you talk it through with Ryan Grubb, and what does that look like in terms of scripting those first 12, 15 plays, and then what maybe even Ty's input in that as well?
Yeah, you bet. I let them throughout the week. They're gonna really know what they're comfortable with, and usually Thursday we get to the point where Coach Grubb and the offensive staff have an idea, a really strong idea, and put a play bank together. I know he's going to really probably talk with Ty in particular, making sure that he feels all good with everything, and if there's anything he's concerned about, and usually you can feel that as the week goes on. I can see what that looks like on the call sheet, feel comfortable with myself. I always like to know what's early, but I don't press on him because I know as a play caller over many years, you might change your mind until kickoff. And so again, I kind of have an idea of what the bank is of plays. It's on our call sheet, but not necessarily in a particular order. And just kind of checking off and making sure during the course of the game that those are the plays that we felt best about, that we're getting them called. And trust the rhythm, trust the prep that Coach Grubbs put in, and seeing the adjustments, maybe the changes in the way it presents itself that might be different than when we worked on. But they're so thorough, they're so detailed. Ryan's just dialed in on all those situations and, understanding probably as much as anything, what are the third down calls? What are the fourth down calls? What are the plays in the red zone when we get in those moments where you got to decide, it's 4th and 2 and what are we going to do? And, having an idea of kind of the 1 or 2 calls that might be next on the call sheet. So I really let them work through it, but I can see, later in the week, by Friday for sure, of what really that's probably going to be when it comes to our openers. So.
Let's go to Jamie on the front right.
Hey, Coach, you guys continue to win, which means the target on your back only gets bigger. And no matter who you play, it seems teams are going to always play up. Fans are going to be extra hyped to play you guys. So my question is, how do you carry the energy from a big home win like Tennessee on the road in a hostile environment this week?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's I think it's their homecoming too. And so, you're just trying to find every way and everything, to present a challenge to our guys, and what they're up against. And I think, again, going through the experiences we've had together, our guys understand we are going to get everyone's best shot.
Let's go to Joe, left side.
Coach, going back to the emotions of the game, what have you seen from James Smith emotionally in this season, and how do you channel him to more consistency, as Kane Womack said a minute ago?
Yeah, I really, when you think big picture from a year ago to now, I love the energy and just there's a personality and there's a connection that I feel with him, and I feel like our relationship is really good. There's been moments, and he had one where he got he hit the quarterback late, and I know how much he cares. I see it, and he's as soon as he was back there talking to me, owning up to it, and knowing he messed up. And so it's just a matter of learning from that. And I feel when people do care like he does, they'll be better because of it. And so that doesn't mean you don't have consequences that come along with the penalties in that particular case, like we have in our program. And so he owns up to that, takes care of those consequences, and we move on.
Okay, we'll finish up with Jonathan standing up on the back right.
Hey, Coach, what do you think has cost your team in some of these road games versus unranked opponents, and how do you try to avoid that this week?
I'm sorry, I was trying to
No,
find
you're
you
okay.
first, and so what was the first part?
Yeah, so some of these road games against unranked opponents that you guys have lost, what do you think has cost your team in those games, and then how do you try to avoid that with this one this week?
I think there's different reasons. I think there's been times where neither side of the ball could really overcome and the momentum swings, and it just built on itself. I think starting games quickly, at least one side of the ball, starting and getting stops or putting a score on the board. But I think a lot of it is just execution in critical moments, converting a third down when it's really loud on the first drive of the game, or, getting the ball in the end zone, or getting a big stop. Those things are the things that you need to have. And then as the game goes on and it is close, again, I talked about critical moments. I said it all off season, be great in the critical moments. And that's really, there's been some close games, and, in critical moments, critical moment doesn't always mean the fourth quarter. It could be at the end of the second quarter, and getting a stop and finding a way to put it in the end zone yourself as the clock's running out. So be great in those critical moments. And that does different things for different sides of the ball, staying on the field offensively, converting, and, making them line up and play another snap defensively, because I really feel like, when our fight is there as a team, and I think, again, the experiences we've been through, it's added to a resiliency, it's added to a belief, it's added to a consistency, and a toughness, again, mental, physical, and emotional, that our team really is counting on each other to get the job done. Thank you. Yep, roll tide.